9. Welcome back, Big 550 KTRS. If you just joined us, you just missed our conversation with the newest Tony Award winner, Mike Isaacson. He's busy getting ready for the Muni. My Fair Lady starts next week, but he's got to get back on a plane. But he's enjoying New York as Fun Home won a number of Tony Awards, including Best Musical, and he was there last night at the Tonys. And we will put that out on Twitter and Facebook and KTRS.com if you missed the interview. Good thing, and a good guy, and proud to... Now, I haven't seen too many people I know get up on stage and win a Tony. It was kind of neat to see someone you know winning the Tony. So he was nice enough to spend a couple minutes with us in a very busy morning. David Hunn joins us, also nice enough for him to come by. Good morning, David Hunn from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
Good morning, McGraw. Good to be here.
Thank you very much. You are our stadium guru, our stadium expert, trying to figure out exactly what all these moving pieces are. And our number one question is, in your stories, we now know that they've gone to their third judge to get the hearing on whether or not the city of St. Louis entity can sue the city of St. Louis. It's almost like the Saturday Night Massacre with Archibald Cox and Watergate. People keep resigning.
Yeah.
So why? Explain to me why it's such a hard time to find a judge for this case.
Well, to be honest, the judges say this all just happened kind of by happenstance. I mean, the court is not particularly happy with me right now because in the very first judge, David Dowd,
right,
his clerk told me that he was, quote, under the weather.
Right.
And so I quoted her saying that he was under the weather, in quotes. And I guess some read that as me suggesting he wasn't actually under the weather, which I did not mean to do. I mean, that is every reader's independent decision, right?
Okay.
And the court was not happy with me for that. So, but they insist that he is truly and seriously sick, and will be on, at home.
He's on some type of leave, some type of medical sick leave.
Right, and the doctor says he will be home for. The judges say the doctor has ordered him to stay home for 2 weeks.
And you also clarified that in your next subsequent artiest.
I did. I actually wrote about it quite a bit. So I hope that I just hope that I'm clear with the judges that I had no intention of, casting aspersions on Mr. Dowd.
Okay.
Judge Dowd. So the second one was Moriarty, and Moriarty is, I think some judges would say something of an enigma. Her rulings are sometimes surprise people.
Okay.
And so before we even knew what had happened, we barely knew she was appointed, and the judges, Bob Blitz and his firm, asked for her removal. And you can do that. And every judge, every attorney in a case gets one freebie.
Oh.
I don't want that judge. I don't have to tell you why. I'm just pulling him. And so Moriarty was gone.
So Bob Blitz, the man who was part of the mayor's or the governor's task force, used his get-out-of-jail-free card and said, that judge I don't want.
Yes, that's exactly right.
All right.
And So the I love this. Judge Hettenbach is the presiding judge.
Back up 1 second.
Yeah.
Bob Blitz on the governor's task force, but also the lawyer hired by the
Edward Jones Dome
Authority to try the case.
Yeah. So Bob Blitz and his firm is general counsel for the Edward Jones Dome Authority. The Edward Jones Dome Authority has decided that it has the power to build a new stadium.
Okay.
So it is the one who is paying the bill for all of the new stadium work. Now, I just calculated the numbers, and that has now surpassed $3 million.
Wow.
They have spent $3 million on the planning for this new stadium.
Okay.
And the Dome Authority, so the tax money, hotel motel taxes that folks pay when they go to hotels.
Right.
That's what funds the Edward Jones Dome Authority, and that is what is paying for this new stadium.
Got it. Okay.
So Blitz is general counsel for the Edward Jones Dome Authority, and therefore they decided he would also be the one who is trying the case where the Jones Dome sued the city. This is back to that make your head spin moment. Jones Dome sued the city to force a judge to rule on whether or not we need a public vote.
Right. And the Edward Jones Dome Authority says not only can we fund it, but we don't need a vote on it either.
That is what they say. That is their argument to the judge.
Okay, so the judge has to hear this case.
Yeah. So the judge. Oh, okay. So quickly.
So Moriarty's gone.
Moriarty's gone. Judge Hettenbach is the presiding judge. So that means he appoints the next judge.
Okay.
And he called. I thought it was very kind of him to call. Judges do not always do this. And I thought, especially in this case, with the level of interest, I was very happy that he called to talk to me. And what he said was, listen, judges are busy. And so the next thing I did is I asked every judge to give me their vacation schedule, figure out who was actually free, had some time to try the case, and then he picked a name out of the hat. And that's how we got to family law judge Frawley.
Okay.
And Frawley's really interesting because he does not hear this kind of case very often. He hears like the nasty stuff, rape and murder and battery. I mean, all that family law ugliness.
Right.
And he's tough. He was in juvenile court for a long time, and he has a history of advocating for kids and even ending parental rights when the parents don't do what they're supposed to do. He's a tough judge on this kind of stuff.
It's interesting. So he doesn't hear any of this stuff. This is a new world for him.
I mean, I'm sure he's heard it. They all have.
Right.
But yeah, this is a different kind of case than he is normally in the press for hearing.
Okay. So he's the judge.
Yeah.
All right.
So now Friday morning. So he, much to his credit, he called a hearing immediately. Now, there's some intrigue here. So my understanding is that he was ready to hear the case, to hear arguments Friday morning.
All right.
And something got in the way. And I don't know what it was. I don't know why he didn't hear it. I don't know if it was the attorneys. I have some off-the-record sourcing that I'll keep to myself.
Okay.
But I don't know what happened. I don't know why he didn't hear the case on Friday morning. We were all ready for it. He apologized to the crowd that had shown up. Apologized to the attorneys.
Right.
And I didn't hear back from either of the attorneys nor from the judge on Friday afternoon, so I don't know why it didn't go.
All right, so when is the new hearing set for?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah, so, let's see. The 25th. Wait, is that 3 weeks? About a little less than. So the city will have 1 week to file a brief. So by this Friday, we should get the city's kind of final arguments.
Okay.
And they should be defending their ordinance. So they should be pro-public vote.
Right. Even though the mayor is against the public vote.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. And the city also was very offended. That anyone suggested that they would not vigorously defend this lawsuit. They were very upset.
You're doing your job when you offend everybody.
I do my best.
Yes. Okay. All right.
And then I have to try to get them to get back on the phone with me later on. It's a very interesting job.
I know I just offended you, but I have another question for you.
Hey, don't forget to call me back middle of the week, would you?
Okay. So that's... Go ahead.
So the city has a week to put their last arguments in. Then Blitz and the Edward Jones Dome Authority has their last week to put in their arguments.
Right.
And then that Thursday, the following Thursday, the judge will hear the case. I am guessing, unfortunately, that we are not going to see a decision that day. I am guessing that the judge will take all of this under advisement, go back to his chambers, take some time to think about it, and
he could, if you, as you alluded to, rule that day.
Yes, he could.
How does he have a timeline that he has to rule it by? I mean, could it be six months? Could it be 3 weeks? Could it be 2 years?
Not that I know of.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So that's the latest there.
Yeah.
What's interesting is now. Governor Nixon, in his roundabout talking to people, did not talk to you.
No,
he did not talk to you.
Governor Nixon didn't talk to me. He talked to everyone else, and
everyone else.
I would like to
us.
pretend like I was offended, but I wasn't. It just, I think it's kind of run of the. I mean, listen,
he talked to all the sports guys.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I don't know how. I think sometimes politicians want to talk to the people who they think they'll get a. I don't know.
No. You're right. It is what it is.
Yeah.
He didn't talk to you.
I did express my. I requested that next time they make sure to visit my shabby little office.
Your cubicle.
Yes.
One of the things that I picked up in him not talking to you and talking to others in town was that he basically said that by the August owners meeting, all of the financing will be in structure in place, and the land will be in place.
I am very interested to see that process happen.
Okay.
Because I have talked to many owners down there, and I only know of a couple who sold. So I believe that the land acquisition process is more difficult than anyone.
We're
maybe
talking
thought it would
180
be.
acres.
Well, even the 90 just under the... So the 180 is all of it. Remember Plan B?
Okay.
You know, let's redevelop everything. That's all 180.
Okay.
The 90 is just the stadium footprint.
Okay.
And I mean, listen, those guys bought that land thinking it would be their retirement.
Right.
And they're not wealthy people. I mean, Sun Signs is this little tiny sign company. Like literally they make signs.
Right.
And they've been down there forever. And their mom and dad own the building, and that's like they need to get something out of that land in order to retire.
Right.
And listen, I'm not going to say anybody deserves it.
Right.
But
I made the point. Even if everyone, it's almost virtually impossible in terms of timeline, just to get everything done by August. Even if everyone agreed to everything.
So I think the hard parts are going to be getting these owners who have seen this as their nest egg.
Right.
They've got to get something going with them and right away. Now, I will say all they have to do is get that agreement, because once they sign the option, then it's good to go for the task force.
Okay, so money doesn't have to change hands. They just have to have an agreement in place.
Correct.
But getting 90 acres contiguous in the city is very difficult, because you're going to have people who want to hold out for different.
Smack in the middle of that 90 acres is the Cotton Belt building.
Yes.
It's owned by Mark Schulte and Tim Tucker.
Okay.
Grandson, is that correct, of the former mayor?
Okay.
And it's a huge building. It's an iconic building.
Right.
And they don't want to sell.
Right, exactly.
Right now, they need more than they're being offered.
Right, and where Governor Nixon comes to town and says everything is going to be buttoned up so that the NFL can rule in August, and we're going to have everything in place. It'll be interesting to see how that happens.
So we've got the lawsuit that we just talked about in the city. We've got the legislators suing Nixon.
Right.
So they're trying to block his extension of those bonds, which, remember, is going to be like $200 million of the $1 billion stadium, right? If we round up here,
right,
in gross terms. If the city's going to be another 100 or a little more. Oh no, my numbers are a little high there. Sorry, it's more like 125 and 75, something like that.
All right,
maybe a little more than that too. We don't know yet. That's the point, right? We don't know,
right?
Because none of this stuff has been hammered out.
Well, as he told, I want to say Andy Banker at Fox 2 News, that's only 3% of the legislature, and that's not that big of a deal.
Tell a dude on the street that $300 million is not that big a deal.
All right,
who's 100? What's $100 million among friends?
San Diego. Where is Are you following the San Diego City Council and their stadium deal? Where are they in this process?
I haven't read in a couple days, but the San Diego and Oakland. Well, Oakland is almost a non-starter, right? I mean, we've talked about that before. Right. San Diego's catching up, I mean, will they get there in time? I mean, they have a lot to do. And their funding mechanisms are a little... I'm not sure the NFL is going to love them, right? So they use, like, money that could be, quote-unquote, the Chargers' money.
Okay.
Like taxes on hot dogs and hamburgers and stuff like that.
Right.
One of the arguments against that, in fact, the task force is talking about not using that money here, because the NFL kind of considers that the Rams' money or the Chargers' money. Oh, right.
So yeah. Taxing a hot dog is their money, not money that should be spent on a stadium where they play and sell the hot dog.
Another thing, now I'm not sure I buy that one, frankly. I mean, the team cannot put a tax, so I'm not sure I buy that argument. But fine. The other one that makes more sense to me is rent. So San Diego is using rent. They're gonna leverage rent for bonds. Oh. And that's maybe they can do it, but that is
right.
That's different.
All right. So where we are, we now wait for this loss. Yes.
One thing that is interesting is that the San Diego / Oakland deal in Carson.
Yes.
Everybody thinks that's catching up to Kroenke.
Right.
Now, I have a hunch that next time Kroenke comes out publicly with something, we're all going to be like, wow. He's really advanced.
Yeah.
He has gone a lot farther in this kind of quiet stage than we all realize.
Right.
Because remember, just because somebody's not talking to the press doesn't mean they're not doing anything.
Right.
So I would guess Kroenke is actually making grounds that we don't know about. but it's just a hunch.
David Hunn is with us, St. Louis Post-Dispatch. As always, thanks for checking in.
Happy to be here.
Stay right there. I want to talk to you off the air. 9:24. I want to give you some inside info. No, I'm kidding you. 9:24 here, Big 550.